Okay, so step 5, we want to do some calculations, and we're going to be using Excel formulas, which are extremely powerful and we're going to be using for the next couple of weeks. Let's go back to our spreadsheet. And in cell B14, right down here, let's figure out how many people total have voted in our very exciting survey of favorite animals. Okay. So to do that, I could take these numbers and I could add them up manually with a calculator, but that's a real pain. Instead, I can do it in Excel really nicely. I can use a formula. In Excel, all formulas start with an equal sign. And there's a nice formula called the sum. And what I can do is I could either type in the numbers individually. I could say 9, comma, there's that next one, comma, next one, and so on. And notice how we've got some color coding going on. But I've got a range, so I don't need to do this individually. Instead, I can either type the numbers of the range or I can click and drag. Okay, and notice this is grabbed cells B2, there's B2 right there, through B12, there's B12. And the range is specified with that little colon between the numbers. Okay, so then if I hit enter, it's going to tell me that there are 316 people total voted in this survey. A quick note, another way to do this is you can go to the Formulas tab and you can insert a function, and you can walk through and it'll walk you through many of the different functions. There's a lot of them. Right? So if we look at all functions in Excel, there's a whole bunch of them. So what you can do is this will help you figure out which function you want, which equation, what's your goal, and it'll help walk you through them. Okay, so this is even taking too long just to scroll, so I'm gonna quit. Okay, so now we know that 316 people voted total in our survey, and once again, if I click on that, I can see the numbers up here. If I get up here and I start, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, and I start, well, sometimes you can get trapped in a formula. And if I try to click elsewhere in the spreadsheet, it starts doing new things to the formula. You can always hit the escape button, and that will get you out of the formula. Okay, so to calculate percentage, we say 9 people out of 316 people like birds best. So I can say equals 9 divided by 316, like that, enter, to get a percentage. But now to figure out the dog, I now have to type equals 84 divided by 316. That 316, the number on the bottom, the denominator of our fraction, is never going to change, but the numerator is going to change with each one of these. So if we had a bunch, imagine you had a couple hundred of these instead of just 13 or, what is that, 11, it's going to be a real pain. So a better way to do this is to use cell references. So I say equals, let's start by getting rid of these equations. I can say equals, I want whatever cell is next to this formula divided by 316. Right, since the bottom number is never going to change, I can put that in manually, but the top number is going to change. Now I hit enter and it's calculated it for me. So what this has done is that top number is referring to this cell. This is called a cell reference. And what's really cool about this is there's this little square in the bottom right hand corner of that cell. It's a little hard to see. That's called a fill handle. And if I put my cursor on that, notice how my cursor changes. If I put my cursor on that, click and hold down, I can drag all the way down to here. And now let's look at one of them. Let's pick horse. Who likes a horse best? Let's look at that formula. The numerator has changed to stay as whatever cell is next to me, but the denominator is cell 316. Let's look at another one, turtle. Who likes the turtle best? There we go. Now the numerator is B10 and the denominator is 316. This is known as a relative reference in Excel, where we specify the location of the numerator. It's going to be right next to my equation. And then as we drag our equation down, the numerator stays right next to our equation, but the denominator is fixed. Okay, but these percentages don't really look like percentages to me. So let's format them so it looks a little bit more like a percentage. So I'm going to click on that column, and I'm going to go to the Home tab, And over here in this number group, there is this button that looks like a percent sign. And if I click on that, I'm going to get all of these as percentages. But we've lost a little bit of information because it wasn't exactly 3%. It was actually 2.9%, right? 2.9 something. So what we can do is I can go back to the Home tab, and I've got these buttons with these little weird little zeros and arrows. And what I can do, let's go the other way, is the more times I click on this button, the more decimal points we see. If I go this way, we see less decimal points. Let's make it so we see exactly 1 decimal point like that. And now we need to resize this column. There we go. Okay.